Muy buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Bruno Perón y otra vez, a nombre de Class Education, les quiero desear la más cordial bienvenida a nuestro penúltimo webinario del año. La próxima semana tenemos un webinario especial con testimonio, al cual creo que deberán asistir todos ustedes para escuchar por parte de los mismos alumnos y sus familias también, cómo fue su experiencia o cómo es su experiencia, porque varios están aquí en Canadá y nos van a hablar de su experiencia desde Canadá. Eso es la próxima semana, pero hoy tenemos un webinario otra vez muy, muy interesante con nuestros amigos de BCIT, un politécnico público aquí en la región de Vancouver, de hecho el más grande de toda la provincia y uno de los más grandes del país. Pero antes de empezar con ellos, les quiero decir, como siempre es costumbre, este webinario lo estamos grabando. Quien se haya registrado el webinario recibirá la grabación del mismo el día de mañana. Estamos en vivo en Facebook Live, en YouTube, en Twitter. Así que si nos están viendo desde esta plataforma, quiero que sepan que el equipo de clase está ahí con ustedes, listos para contestar a sus preguntas, comentarios, cualquier inquietud que tengan, por favor, háganlos en el chat y vamos a estar tomando las preguntas a lo largo del webinario con mis invitados de hoy, ¿ok? Y justo antes de empezar, les quiero comentar, por la gente que no nos conocen, Class Education somos una agencia canadiense, tenemos 26 años dedicándonos a apoyar alumnos que quieren estudiar a Canadá, alumnos de México, de toda América Latina. A eso nos dedicamos, tenemos departamento de visado, de consultoría, de hospedaje, para hacer las aplicaciones para ustedes. Al fin, tenemos todos los servicios que uno necesita para estudiar. Hemos enviado ya más de 10,000 alumnos a estudiar a Canadá. Estoy seguro que tenemos la institución y el programa que está buscando y también todos los servicios que uno necesita para hacer ese tipo de viaje. Hablando de los servicios, ofrecemos un servicio all inclusive, es decir, llave en mano para nuestros clientes, empezando con la consultoría educativa, obviamente, para encontrar el programa y la institución que más se acopla a sus necesidades, pero también para conseguir su visa de estudio y trabajo en el caso que sea posible, en el caso que sea un programa que se acopla a eso, coordinación del viaje, hospedaje, seguro médico, todo, otra vez, como dije al inicio, todo lo que uno necesita para estudiar en Canadá, lo ofrecemos en Class Education, todo en el mismo lugar. Así que ese es quienes somos, Class Education, 26 años de experiencia a sus órdenes. Y sin más tiempo, vamos entrando en nuestro webinario de hoy. Les decía hace ratito que el webinario es con BCIT y les quiero dar un pequeño, una vista rápida de quién es BCIT, quién es esta institución canadiense de mucho prestigio. BCIT es un politécnico público, como decía, que está ubicado en Burnaby. Burnaby está en la región aglomerada de Vancouver. Es el primer municipio pegado a Vancouver. Es la mayor escuela de tecnología tecnológica digital. Ganó el premio de la mejor institución tecnológica digital por segundo año consecutivo. Es una institución que ofrece una enseñanza muy hands-on, es decir, 50% teórica y 50% práctica. Tiene salones chicos de 16 a 28 alumnos por clase. Es una institución con más de 50,000 alumnos al año. Y de esos 50,000, 6,500 alumnos aproximadamente son internacionales. Ofrece certificados, diplomados avanzados, licenciatura y maestrías. Y tiene más de 150 programas en 6 facultades que vamos a ver en un momento. Uno que se llama Business y Media, Computing and Academic Studies, Construction, Environment, Energy, Health Science, and Automobile and Aviation. Entonces, es un instituto bastante completo con una variedad de programas muy, muy importante y lo vamos a ver un poco más adelante en la presentación. BCIT trabaja en estrecha colaboración con el mercado laboral, donde muchos de sus profesores siguen siendo gente que trabaja en la industria relacionada. Tiene una tasa, y a ver, escuchen bien eso, del 98% de sus graduados que encuentran empleo en lo que estudiaron al graduarse de sus programas. 98%. Un salario promedio de sus egresados de $70,000 al año, lo cual es de por mucho arriba del promedio canadiense. Los graduados de BCIT son de alta demanda en el mercado laboral local, canadiense y internacional. Cuentan con varios programas con co-ops y vamos a verlo un poco más adelante. Y como es una institución pública, goza del Postgraduate Work Permit, el famoso permiso laboral que permite a todos sus egresados trabajar hasta por 3 años al momento de graduarse. ¿Okay? Bueno, entonces son datos realmente asombrosos. Es una institución muy reconocida en Vancouver, en British Columbia, en Canadá y en muchas partes del mundo. Y sin más, vamos a entrar. Les quiero presentar a nuestros invitados de hoy para que hablemos un poco más a fondo de ese instituto. ¿Okay? Entonces, tenemos conmigo el señor Michael Galley, que es el manager, el gerente de reclutamiento internacional y admisión. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Good. Oh, I guess I should start my cam.
Oh, should I say Santa? There you go.
Thank you, Bruno. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
You're in the spirit of the holidays, I see.
I am. Another week, and then it's the Christmas holidays.
That's right. That's right. And we also have Sarah Lando, who's also on the line.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me, Bruno.
Sara es de reclutamiento internacional también. Trabajamos de la mano con Sara. Hemos hecho varias entrevistas después del último webinario que hicimos con clientes, con estudiantes que querían tener más información sobre la institución, sobre casos específicos, y Sara siempre está ahí al pendiente para nosotros, así que muchas gracias. Sarah and Michael, it's good to have you again. It's not the first time that we do this. I think it's the second or third time that we have you on. Every time you break the internet, tonight is no exception again. We have already, I think, a full house. So you must be doing something right. And I think your reputation precedes you. Certainly, BCIT is quite a prestigious institution in Canada. A huge institution and a public institution with a number of programs. So I already gave, as you heard me, a brief introduction as to what this institute is all about. But I'd like to go further into detail with you, Sarah, if we can get into some of the programs, what makes BCIT. I know you prepared a great presentation on what makes why BCIT and what it makes it the right choice for a lot of our students. So I'll let you go ahead, and then we'll see how questions come about. And I may interrupt you at one point to talk about some questions that are pertinent to what you're talking about. Y a la gente que nos está escuchando en inglés o en español, les pido por favor háganos saber sus preguntas mientras estamos hablando para tomarlos al aire en inglés o en español o en francés. Adelante, estamos ahí para atenderlos y contestarlos, sobre todo en tiempo real. Okay? All right. All yours.
Okay, awesome. Bruno, you can see my screen, correct?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so let's get into the presentation. So some characteristics of BCIT. It's a polytechnic institute, so it's quite different than a university or a college. It really is its own type of institution. And what makes BCIT very different is that it's driven by industry. So depending on the job market, BCIT adjusts its curriculum. And so as a result, the education is very hands-on. You're not just studying like the same way you would in a university. It's 50% learning and 50% actually doing, which is really where the learning begins.
Sarah, your presentation is a little bit on the, maybe it's me. Michael, can you see it right, or is it cut in half?
It's actually cut in half, yeah.
Let me try again.
We can see it. Now we can see it completely, yes.
Yeah, is this better, or was it better before?
Looks good. No, looks good.
Looks better? Okay, okay, great, thank you. Yeah, so again, it's a lot more hands-on than other schools. Polytechnic is very, very hands-on. And we have, again, I think as Bruno mentioned, 50,000 students enrolled annually.
Sorry, Sarah, we're actually at the half screen again. It's getting cut off on the side.
Yeah, leave it like this, maybe. Leave it like this.
I'll leave it like this. Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Sounds great. Thank you. And so we are located in Vancouver, BC. So BCIT does have several locations. Burnaby, which is our main location, and it is just outside of kind of the downtown Vancouver area. And then we also have a school right downtown. And that is where the majority of international students would be studying. And I don't know if the audience has ever been to Vancouver, but it is really one of the most beautiful, one of the most safe, one of the most multicultural cities, and it is quite lovely. Yeah, so I can just get into...
I'm sure quite a few of the people that are on the call have already been to Canada or probably to Vancouver as well, and hence also where the interest comes from as well.
Amazing. Yeah, so Vancouver, I'm from there actually. So I was born in Vancouver, born and raised. And so it really is, has that really great kind of contrast between a modern city and also kind of a very natural city full of forests and mountains and the ocean. It's also quite safe. It's friendly and very multicultural. So, you know, when you walk down to the seawall or to Granville Street or to the major shopping areas, you're constantly hearing, you know, Spanish, Russian, French, all different types of languages. So you really feel like you are in kind of the center of great, great diversity. Another great advantage of the location of BCIT is that there is a growing employment rate in BC. So between now and 2022, over 1 million jobs, like new jobs, are set to open in British Columbia. And so this puts a program at BCIT in a really valuable asset, because it means that you're going to be learning skills that are going to be very hireable in the British Columbian employment community. So it's a really great location for working as well.
1 million new jobs, that's huge.
It's huge. It's a lot of jobs. And again, BCIT is very, very job focused. So it really is the best school in terms of getting a job pretty much. Yes. So in terms of BCIT's recognition, we are a public institution. In Vancouver, there's lots of private institutions, but a public institution, I believe, is really, really great for international students because it is held to a very high standard. And once you graduate from a public institution, depending on the program you're taking, you're eligible to apply for that postgraduate work permit. Bruno, I'm sure that this is really important to international students.
This is huge, and as a matter of fact, it's quite well understood now by people, that, and often people asking us, okay, is this eligible for postgraduate work permit? So now that we've mentioned it, and I'm sure this is a big one that's out of the way, and now people say, okay, now I can stay connected, or now I can stay focused, and I can actually consider this option for me.
Great, thank you. Exactly, and so for many of our programs, including our business school, we have accreditation. We participate in world competitions. The BCIT Business School participates in the JDC West along with UBC, SFU, and universities throughout Canada. And that is because BCIT has a tremendous, strong reputation and is a school that produces really, really good employers and employees. And again, it's a designated learning institution. And also, it's not on the slide, but BCIT is one of the institutions that has a go forward plan in terms of COVID. So we are a safe school to study at this time. And we'll get into the different kind of forms of studying at BCIT a little bit later. But yes, it is a public institution, and that is one of the best things in terms of as an international student trying to figure out where you might want to go. And then again, does your institution have any recognition? So BCIT has been voted the best digital tech school for a second year in a row. So we have, 6 different schools under the BCIT umbrella, and we have a phenomenal school of computing, and we have everything from systems technology, information technology, full stack web development. In our systems technology program, you can focus on artificial intelligence and data science. So we really are leading in technology. We have a cybersecurity program that we launched in 2019 of September. And so when the job market is looking for people in a specific position, BCIT makes sure that they have a program that produces really great employees. And then again, the thing that we are most famous for is we have an extremely strong, very high employment rate. Because once you finish school, you want to get a job. You want to make some money, I'm guessing. That's at least what I wanted to do when I finished school.
98%. That's a remarkable rate of employment upon graduation. And tell me a little bit more about the best digital tech school for the second year in a row. Is this like provincially, nationwide? And who votes for this?
Yeah, I was doing some research and making these slides because I wanted to update some of my information. And I was looking at, it's called the Daily Hive, which is a Canadian journalism website that kind of reports a lot of the news, and it has a lot of lists for, best this, best that. And so on their website, they were saying that BCIT has won for the second time in a row, best tech school.
Wow, that's quite an accomplishment,
Yeah, exactly. And, we have that great employment rate because BCIT is very, very hands-on. It's very intense. And that being said, just to be, fully transparent, it's definitely for the type of student who is ready and willing to work. It's not for everyone. But again, if you really want to work hard and get a job, and if you're willing to put the hours in, BCIT really is the best option for you.
Can we try again to put your presentation in presentation mode? See if it adjusts now with the.
Yeah, let's try it out. Any luck?
It's the first page right now. The first. Okay. Why is not the configuration is different? It's still cunning. No.
Okay. If you want to, we can just do the question and answers and do it like that, or I can continue like this. What's best?
We can continue. There's a couple of questions. There's a question from a young lady here called Pau Karabak. She's asking about if you have master's degrees, and so I know we talked about this in the beginning, but maybe she wasn't there yet. So tell us about the type of programs you have. You have certificates, you have diploma.
Yeah, certificates, diplomas, which are 2 years. We have bachelor's degrees, which are 3 to 4 years. And then we also have some masters. We don't have a lot, but we do have a master's in engineering. building science, building technology, and then also a master's in digital technology, digital media. Yeah, and that is a really amazing program. It's with SFU, Simon Fraser University, UBC, and these are top Canadian universities, as well as Emily Carr, which is a very good arts university.
Let's dive a little more into those programs. So if you want, let's go straight into your 6 different schools that you have, and let's go quickly through a list of the programs that you have, because I know, once you see the list of programs, you got all kinds of ideas, then you see possibilities, and then I'm sure people have more questions about the programs as well.
Yeah, totally. I can definitely speak about that.
Sarah, can I add something?
Yes.
Sorry, Paul. Regarding the master's degrees, what we should also mention is that 70% of BCIT students come with a bachelor degree. They already have a bachelor degree, and they come to do our diplomas, because our 2-year diplomas are very high value. They're very focused. Really, to me, they're the best value of all the programs at BCIT, because in a 2-year period, you learn all the skills needed for your employment. And that's why students coming out of UBC and Simon Fraser University and other universities, they come to BCIT not for our masters, but for our diplomas.
Yeah, very good point, Michael. And again, I can speak from my personal experience. After high school, after colegio, I studied at a University of British Columbia. Very good university, had a great time. But I did find that once I graduated from UBC, it was really hard for me to find a job. I didn't really feel like I had the skills to be an employee. I felt like I knew how to write and research really well, but I just didn't feel like I knew how to do something. So after kind of a year of soul searching, I spoke to a lot of different people, and they told me that, if you want to get a job, go to BCIT. And so I decided to enroll, and I remember, my first week, I already had tons of projects, but it was so exciting because it was in, a field that I was really passionate about. And I kind of realized right away that this is way more useful for me at the time that I was in than a university, because I was really learning how to do things and not just how to write things, So I'm one of those students who went to university first and then decided to upgrade my education at BCIT, taking a diploma.
That's such a good testimonial. I mean, in terms of, it's important to learn stuff, but it's also to be work ready. I mean, today, this is key. Everything changes so fast. You need to be work ready, and that's what BCIT delivers, I think, to its students and to its employers as well, because lots of employers are following BCIT and they're looking at doing events with BCIT to meet those work ready students. So I think it's a great testimonial. Okay, we have lots of other questions. A lot of them are related to programs. I guess if we slide into programs, we will answer like 4 or 5 different questions at the same time there, because they're asking if we have diplomas in marketing and all that. So I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just show you. So I have answered the question, what discipline is the most recognized. But again, let me just talk to you about the school. So we have the School of Computing, which is all those IT programs I had mentioned. We have the School of Energy, which is where a lot of our engineering programs exist. We have the School of Business and Media, which is where we have, marketing and all our business type of programs, accounting, human resources. And that school also has media. So we have television and video production. We have the School of the Construction and Environment, which is ecological restoration, fish and wildlife, architecture. And other than that, we have the School of Health Sciences, which is, biomedical engineering technology, anything from food technology to workplace safety. So under the 5 schools, we have over 150 programs. So I will make sure that, Bruno, you can give students, the link so students can really browse and see all the different types of programs. But pretty much how it works is, as long as it is a job, we probably have the program for it. So we're not going to have psychology or history. That's more along university. But if it's something like, you know, marketing, accounting, human resources, architecture, we are most likely to have it.
Engineerings, all the engineerings, all the types of
Yes, all the engineerings, mechanical, civil, robotics, mechatronics, and much more.
Yeah, 150 programs. That's huge. It's huge.
It is very big. Yes.
Okay, so sorry, do you have a slide on the different schools or the list of programs?
No, not on these questions. Yeah. But you know what? I will make sure that you have the link so students can really browse through all the programs.
Okay, no problem. And anyone interested, of course, you know, we can go through all the programs with you, and we have the programs available in our office, so we can share that with you as well. Okay, what else is there's other questions about requirements, you know, requirements to get in, and also requirements about the co-op, because they've heard about your co-op programs.
Yeah, let me talk to you a little bit about that. Let me just touch on co-ops, and then I'll go into requirements. So we do run co-ops. Co-op programs, they usually happen at the end of most of the 2-year diplomas. And so how it works is, you know, for around 6 weeks, a student will co-op, and they'll kind of work at a company that is in the field of what they're studying in. And, you know, it's very much like a job. They get there from, you know, 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, and, you know, they don't get any special treatment. They're really working as though it's their job, and the co-op kind of person in charge will make sure that students find a really good fit for them. For me, when I was doing my co-op, I had a series of interviews, so it really felt like a job. And I was interviewing with ad agencies, with PR firms, with even like small startups. And we'd sit down, go for an interview, which is a really valuable experience. And then if they liked me, they'd call me back. And if I liked them, I would accept. And so it's very good because it really prepares students for the job. And so a lot of our programs do have co-ops, and again, that can be found out on the website in the courses. It'll signify whether there's a co-op or if there's like a final project. There's always kind of a big finale piece, and most programs would have a co-op.
Okay, and these co-ops are organized by the institution then, in most cases, right?
Yes, exactly. So the program head, you know, they're the ones who organize it, and students are given a lot of time, because how BCIT instructors, you know, frame this is that they're producing employees, and they want to make sure that the companies who work with BCIT are very impressed, you know. So it's really important that the program head continues to keep that relationship with employers to make sure that they take in really great students. And sometimes it can turn into a job. I know a lot of my classmates, the place that they did their co-op was the place that they got hired. So that's also really, really great.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for employees to meet the students and students to meet the employee. And like you said, if they both like each other, there are lots of chances they will stay together, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's easier. If you've already trained this student, you know, and they already know all the ins and outs, it's really great for both the student and the employer.
Okay, very good. So typically these co-ops are 1 semester long, you mentioned, right?
It'll be a little bit under, so it'll be a semester, and you kind of start preparing for the co-op, you get ready for the interviews, and then at the end you do your co-op.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Michael and Sarah, why is it that BCIT is such an intricate part of the business community here of companies? What makes it that BCIT, is you know, has so many professionals teaching at the institution, and the close relationship with the private sector? Why do you think this happens at BCIT mainly?
Why don't I take this one, Sarah? So there are 2 reasons, Bruno, and thank you very much for bringing this one up, because this is really at the heart of BCIT. Yeah. The industry connections are everything for us. So first, all of our faculty must have industry experience. So you cannot teach at BCIT unless you have worked in your industry. We don't have people who are graduating with PhDs. They're great with the theory and the research, but they don't know what that means in the real world. All of our faculty must have industry experience, which is great. But if they've been teaching with us for 10 years, they might lose some of those connections. So even more important for me is the program advisory committees. So every program at BCIT has a committee of people from industry. They're vice presidents and managers and directors, people from all levels of companies within that field. And they will meet with our faculty in each program twice a year, and they will discuss what is changing in their industry. What are the skills that they need their employees to have, so that BCIT can upgrade and change our curriculum to reflect what that industry needs. And because we do that, and because we bring the employers into BCIT and help us with our curriculum development, they know what we teach, they know how we do it, and that gains their trust. So they hire our graduates, they take our co-op students, they promote us in all of their networks. Industry knows BCIT very well.
And that's key, I think, because you're right. I think it reduces the risk related to hiring a new person, because they know what this person is going to be capable of doing, right?
Exactly.
Well, by living here in Vancouver, everyone knows. You're right, Michael. Everyone knows this about BCIT. Everyone knows that people come out of BCIT are very well prepared, or ready to work, and they're ready to make a difference. And it's it's in the culture here. People know. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that people in Mexico and Latin America that are listening to this realize that, because this is I think what a lot of them are looking for, and this is important for them to know, because it's not as well known in Mexico, obviously. Okay, the advisory system is a very, very big point, I think, at BCIT. Okay, okay. There are more questions about requirements in terms of languages. Do you have a slide on this, right, Sarah?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. Let me get into languages. Okay, so when we look into languages, let's look over here. So all our programs are a little bit different in terms of what they are looking for entrance requirements. But one thing that you'll always find is that English is a must. So we want to make sure that the students at BCIT, they thrive, and we don't want them to feel like they don't understand what's going on. So it's really important that students have English skills. And so when it comes to English 12, which is what we look for a Canadian student, for an international student, we're looking for different equivalencies. So we take anything from IELTS to TOEFL to the Duolingo test right now. So take that right now, because it's quite inexpensive. It's online. We take the Cambridge assessment. We take the CALE, which is the Canadian Academic Language Test. So we take a number of different tests. And what we're typically looking for is, when it comes to IELTS, we're looking for a 6.5. Most of our programs require a 6.5. Some of them require a 6. And maybe a few, 1 or 2, will require a 7. And so that is the equivalent of an 86 on TOEFL and a 115 on Duolingo.
Okay. All right. So are you taking Duolingo all through 2021, or?
Can't say. So right now we're taking Duolingo, and as soon as we're told otherwise, we will let you know. So I would say that if someone's really interested in applying, or even a little bit interested, it doesn't hurt to take this test. Do it now while it's still available, because we cannot say what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Duolingo will, as the other tests become online, Duolingo might be on its way out. So you're right. Either you jump on it right away and use it and get your acceptance based on Duolingo while it's available, because I think there's other tests that will be coming in 21, including the Canadian one, who will start the KL test, which will start pretty soon, I think, to come into play. Okay, so 115 Duolingo. Duolingo, yes. For those who don't know, at duolingo.com, you can do a preparation test, like a fake test there. and to see what the questions are like. And after that, the test itself is only $49 US, and you get the results within 3 days. And most institutions are still accepting this so far. And so, yeah. Now, that brings me to my next point, the urgency issue. You know, people are saying, well, I got lots of time. September 21 is a long time from now.
Yeah.
And we've got news for you. It's not a long time. It's around the corner. And,
Totally.
And I think there's two factors. BCIT is a bit the victim of its own success, you know, if I can say that. Spaces is limited. And also a lot of students that were supposed to start in September 2020 did not start. And now they postpone to September 21, or some of them postpone to January 21, but a lot of them postpone to September 21. So there's even less seats available for students, for international students, that is. So am I exaggerating here, Sarah and Michael, or am I? Is this because I got an email from you today, from the corporate email from BCIT saying, "Hey guys, we're getting full in this and this and this area, right?" So this is happening, right?
Yeah, let me talk to you a little bit about that, and I have some slides to help. So when it comes to BCIT programs, we have two types, okay? And so one is competitive entry. And so what competitive entry means is that there may be 10 seats available for international students for a program. And how that works is if it's competitive, it means that we accept applications from the start date to the end date. So in this instance, it's from October to March or October to April 30th. So there's like two different deadlines. And so how that works is if it's competitive, BCIT program head is looking for the best applications. So if they're asking for a 67% in math, we want, you know, a 90 in math or higher than the minimum. So they're looking for the best applications. And some of our programs are competitive, and you're competing against other international students. So in that case, what makes more sense is to come up with a really good application than handing your application in really quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And also, well, you know, like we said, there's a lot of people that already pre-applied by default for next September. So that's one thing. And also, we want to make sure that, you know, the application process takes a certain time. How long is the application process with BCIT approximately?
It really depends. Michael, do you have a better answer than that?
I'm sorry?
How long does the application process take to process? I said that it really depends, but maybe you have something better than that.
Well, I would say anything from a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. So now, right now, there's of course a Christmas holiday, which is complicated, and Santa will be very busy for different reasons.
Totally. So yeah, so I just wanted to say that, yeah, this is competitive entry, but actually most of our programs are not competitive entry. Most of our programs are first qualified, first accepted. And so this is where it really does matter to get your application in sooner than later. And so first qualified, first accepted is the other mode. And how that works is it will say on the website, program is open from October 1st and there's no end date. That means that the sooner the applications get in, those are the people who will get accepted. And that is most of our programs. And Bruno, that was me who sent you that email today. Just letting you know that, you know, we do have programs that are definitely available, but if you are really interested in applying to BCIT's programs, if you want to start maybe before January, it's really, really good thing to consider because, you know, after January, people take a break from their break and they start to get back into thinking about their future. So if you're thinking about BCIT, start now, because then you won't be in that situation where some of your first choices are taken.
Yeah, and we had the unfortunate news to announce to a few of our students this year that sorry, the program is full. Sorry, you can't go to this program, and that was the #1 program and the #2 program. So yeah, work with anticipation. It's different times right now with COVID. Things are different, and also we have to consider time for the visa process, and that's another delay right there as well. So we want to make sure we work ahead of that. You don't need to pay today. You just need to get started. That's all we need. All right. So here's a question from Alberto saying, how does a bridge between studying a diploma and the postgraduate work permit is made or happens? So let's walk him through that process.
Okay, sounds good. So at BCIT, and very good question, at BCIT we have a laddering model. So how it works is you can take a certificate, which is around 1 year, or a diploma, which is 2 years. You can graduate, you can work in Canada for a little bit if you have your PGWP, and then you can come back to BCIT and you can do 1 more year if you're a business student and get a bachelor's of business administration, or you can do 2 more years if you're an engineering student and get an engineering degree. So how it works is BCIT, once you get a kind of designation, you can leave, work, make some money, and then you can come back. So you don't have to start from the beginning, which is super, super nice.
Yeah. I think another part as well is that for international students, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but once you're at the end of your program upon graduation, there's a lot of assistance within the school to apply for your postgraduate work permit. You can go outside and ask for a consultant to do that, or you can have people at the school that are walking you through the steps of applying for your postgraduate work permit. Am I correct?
That would be at the International Student Center that they provide assistance. I'm not sure just how far they go with the assistance, but my understanding is you have 90 days after you graduate to submit the online application for your postgraduate work permit, and it's very straightforward. Yeah,
it's quite simple. And the fact is that it's not everybody gets it. It's not like you're not eligible. Everybody is eligible as long as you graduated and you passed, of course, all your subjects. But you get it, and then you get it for up to 3 years, and then that's when you can start working. But that's a very straightforward process, Alberto. No te la compliques, y si necesitas ayuda nuestra, ahí también estamos aquí para apoyarte en ese sentido. Okay, we had another question also from Limber Sanchez. She was saying, do you have any masters in human resources, tourism, or business?
Sorry.
Yeah, Michael, go for it.
No, sorry, we don't. In the School of Business, it's all 2-year diplomas plus 1 year Bachelor of Business Administration or Bachelor of Technology in Accounting. So no masters in those areas. But again, our diploma levels are what most students come to us for, because those are the ones that are going to get them a job. Often with master's degrees, they're very research based. And if you don't have already some experience or work experience, or the kind of educational experience that BCIT provides, if you've done more of a research and theory bachelor degree and you continue on for another 2 years to finish a master's, you're just doing more theory. And I often caution students about that, because you put yourself into a higher bracket, but you still don't have the basic skills that your employers are looking for. And they know if you have a master's degree, they should pay you more, but are they willing to hire you without the basic skills? So that's why, again, many students come to BCIT for the 2-year diplomas, because it's the basic training to get your first job in that field.
That's the work ready program that we call, right? That's like,
Yeah, I believe that 70% of students who take the diploma already have a bachelor. They already have a degree. And so, Limber, if you have a degree in Mexico and then paired with a diploma from BCIT, it'll put you in so much of a good, strong place in terms of getting a job, because you have, that theoretical education from back home paired with a really hands-on diploma. It puts you in a really good space.
Very good. Here's another question from Jessica Torres. Which is the difference between a master's and a postgraduate certificate?
Michael, do you want to answer this one?
Sure. I mean, there are different kinds of credentials. A master's is, it is a postgraduate degree, whereas a certificate is somewhere in between. And we don't really have many postgraduate certificates at BCIT. It's either a diploma, a degree, some advanced or advanced diplomas or a master's degree.
Master. You have some postgraduate diploma as well, right?
We had a postgraduate certificate in business administration, but they weren't getting enough students coming to the program, so they actually canceled it.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about there's a bit of a contradiction here.
Sorry, Bruno. Sorry, can I just add one more thing that just came to mind?
Sure.
The reason most international students don't want the postgraduate certificate is because it's only a year.
Yeah. Also.
And if you only do a 1-year program, you'll only get a 1-year postgraduate work permit. But if you do the 2-year program, the diplomas, you'll get the maximum 3-year postgraduate work permit, which is far more beneficial than just a 1-year.
You're right. And that's a huge difference. And remember that postgraduate work permit is something you only get access to once in your life. So you don't want to maybe waste it on a 1-year program, because you won't get it for another. Even if you did another diploma or another postgrad or another master's, you'll only get the postgraduate work permit for once in your life.
Yeah,
so
very important.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so here's a contradiction that I see a little bit here, and I already don't know the answer, but I want to talk about this. Sarah says 1 million jobs coming to BC, and I believe her because I see how the economy is strong here, and there's and at the same time we have that COVID thing that's in our face, right? And it's been in our head for the last 8 months. How do those two forces play together? How do you see it play out starting in 2021?
That's a great question. And COVID has a
ball. Do you have a crystal ball there? Do you have a crystal ball?
I can't tell the future, but what I can tell you is that COVID has changed the environment a lot in terms of employment, and I'm sure that all of us know people who may have lost their job, and it's very, very depressing. But the good news is that a lot of jobs haven't always just ended. They've kind of changed, and so I would say that more so than ever before, jobs in information technology, in cybersecurity, in artificial intelligence, in business and marketing are popping up everywhere. And that's because things are changing. The government is putting a lot of money into the economy. And I would say that there's a shift in what is needed. And so that is why upgrading your education now is a really smart thing to do, is because people might need to reskill, but that doesn't mean that they have to start from the bottom. They just might need to reframe what they already know with a diploma. And so there's still tons of jobs out there. It just might look a little bit different than it had before.
True, very, very true. I think things are changing. They're not, being erased. There's just new jobs that are being born, and some jobs are changing, as we're both working from home. So, but we're still working, right?
Yeah, and we've been busy, right, Michael? Like, we have been probably more busy than before, but our jobs have changed. We're not traveling, but we're still doing webinars and seminars and Facebook Lives, and it really has changed.
We're just doing it at all hours of the night now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Tell us about the online, the way you've been able to switch to online, and how does that look in the future? January 21 will be all online. Talk to us about the May intake, September intake. How does that look?
Yeah, sure. Or Michael, did you want to add something?
No, I can talk to this, so Sarah, if you like.
Okay, yeah.
So many of the programs, or even I would say most of the programs, did move to an online format, but some of the programs could not, because they're just too, the hands-on component is just too integral. It's required. You can't learn how to repair an airplane engine online. You have to actually do it, and that goes for many of the programs. But yes, for the upcoming intakes, upcoming semesters, it will be online. For September, we're anticipating that most of the programs will still be online, that were online this year, and those that were not will again not be online. Okay.
I just so people that are listening understand where we're at in Canada, we have just approved the Pfizer vaccine. It's already in Canada. It's being distributed early January in a few weeks. It's about, is it 2 million doses or something like that, or whatever?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to go in January. We're going to start with the vaccination, about 1 million people, and then more in February and March. So we believe that by September we might be back on campus, and that's me touching wood here. It looks like September could be back to the new normal, because I think the online will stay now. I think we will stay with online. Some of it will be online. It will be a bit of a hybrid system, but I think the online will be still there, and there'll be in-class programs as well. Is that how you see it as well, Michael?
I just have a question about that. There's a looming question mark for me, because when this whole COVID situation is passed, I'm not sure how the IRCC will address online learning.
Right.
You know, because although students are allowed to do up to 50% of their programs online, and you could do them online in Canada, and with BCIT, because you do so many credits, that's still a significant amount of learning on campus.
Yeah, true. IRCC is the Immigration Canada side of the government. You know, yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, still, you know, this is still to be seen, but this is how where things are going. Anyway, we got a couple of nice, very interesting questions. One from Jessica. Can we work in our field part-time while we are studying the degree? Yes. So this is how it works. I'll say this in Spanish, so it's easier sometimes for maybe it reaches more people. Mientras uno está estudiando un certificado, un diploma avanzado, una maestría o una licenciatura, mientras está estudiando, puede trabajar medio tiempo, es decir, 20 horas a la semana durante todo el tiempo de sus estudios. También puede uno trabajar tiempo completo durante las vacaciones de los programas, Navidad, por ejemplo, verano, si no hay clases. Y al graduarse, automáticamente se le otorga el famoso Postgraduate Work Permit, que es el permiso laboral, hasta por 3 años. Si tu programa fue de 1 año, es un Postgraduate Work Permit por 1 año. Si tu programa fue de 2 o más años, es un permiso hasta por 3 años. ¿Ok? Ahora, otro beneficio. Si vas con tu pareja, mientras tú estás estudiando tiempo completo y trabajando medio tiempo, tu pareja puede trabajar tiempo completo desde el día que tú empiezas la escuela, y cuando te gradúas, su permiso laboral de tiempo completo sigue vigente hasta que los 3 años de tu Postgraduate Work Permit termine, ¿ok? Y como si no fuera suficiente, también si tienen hijos, sus hijos pueden ir a la escuela completamente gratuitos en el sistema de educación pública canadiense, que es donde el 98% de los canadienses ponen sus hijos, como los míos, por ejemplo. Entonces, esos son los beneficios en pocas palabras. La pregunta que va de la mano con eso siempre es, si mi pareja, y no estamos casados, pero mi pareja, no hay problema. Hay manera de comprobar que son parejas. Puede ser una inversión, una cuenta bancaria, una carta notariada de México, que dice que son una pareja. Y esa pareja puede ser del sexo opuesto o del mismo sexo. Canadá no hace diferencia en este tipo de asuntos. ¿Ok? Entonces, espero haber contestado y más a tu pregunta, Jessica, pero sí se puede trabajar medio tiempo mientras estás en una carrera como BCIT, porque BCIT es una institución pública. ¿Ok? Very good. You agree, Sarah?
Oh, yes. Sí. No, my Spanish is so bad. Yeah, sorry. Lo siento.
We've got another good question from Alberto. Average, how much is our diploma program full course? We haven't talked about it, so that's an important point.
Yeah, that's an important point. Let me get into that. Okay, so most of our programs look like this. So it's around $20,000 Canadian, not American, Canadian, a year. So a 2-year diploma is going to look something like $40,000 over the 2 years. And, you know, there's some fees that come with it. So to apply, there's a $154 application fee. And then once you get accepted, you pay your commitment fee. Now, it goes into your tuition. So it's not in addition to your tuition. It's just so we keep your spot. And that goes against the $20,000 a year. So that's kind of what you're looking at in terms of prices. And then again, we put the living expense around $1,500 to $2,000 per month. You can also live cheaper if you're willing to live with roommates, and there's lots of ways that you can save money. But this is a very conservative, conscientious, projection.
Yeah. So $20,000 Canadian dollars. That's about 15.85 today, by the way. So it's a lot cheaper than US dollars. You can also pay this by semester. So it's about half of it for the first semester, half of it for the second semester. So $10,000. And there's a good question from Jessica. She's saying, with what you make on a part-time basis, do you make enough money to pay for your expenses? And the short answer is yes, depending on your lifestyle, obviously. But yes, if you work part-time, the minimum salary you can make here is about $13 per hour. So $13 times 20 hours per week times 4 weeks a month, you make about $1,100 per month. And with that, usually, if you live with a family, if you live with roommates, you could probably cover your rent and the cost of food. It would not include shopping. It would not include Friday night on Granville Street, especially if you hang out with Sarah. But but it would cover your most immediate expenses, right? In the summertime, on the breaks where you can work full time, you can take advantage of that to save a little money and have it for rainy days, for the fall and the winter. But it will be barely enough to pay for your immediate cost, Jessica. So you need to have a reserve, and you need to have money to pay for the program. The program, you will not make enough money to pay for the program. That's for sure. Okay. 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 So this is an important thing. Now, Vancouver, one of the most desirable cities to live in the world. That doesn't come cheap. It is an expensive city to live in, but BCIT is outside of Vancouver, is in Burnaby. It's already a little cheaper, and also you can live further outside. It's still close to BCIT and lower your cost of rent and cost of living. So I think it's and also the salaries here. I'm thinking that as a student at BCIT, you would most likely make more than minimum salary. You could easily be making $15, $17, $18, $20, $25 an hour. We talked to a student, I think it was a couple of months ago. She was working in a restaurant, and between minimum salary and her tip, she was making $25 per hour. So yeah, she was paying all her expenses and saving some money also to pay towards tuition fees. So I mean, if you want to, it can work. You'll be busy, and that's fine. And that's what most Canadians do, by the way. Most Canadians that study are also working part-time while they're studying and full-time in the summertime. Ask Sarah, ask me, ask Michael. We all did it. And that's how we learn how to be productive and don't waste time on social media and just get the job done. Right? So anyway, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you have all your programs start in September. Would it be fair?
Yes, we also have other dates. Like September is when most of our programs start, but we also have a few intakes in January, in May, and even a few other months as well, depending on the program.
Okay, all right. So, but all the program starts in September, and right now programs are open for January, May, and September 21. Or January is closed.
January is everything's full.
Okay.
May, I think most of the May intakes are also full at this point.
Okay, so we should really focus on September 21.
Yeah.
And according to the email I got today, some of it are getting full as well.
Yeah.
just a few, yeah.
Especially the digital arts programs, they fill up real quick.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, so the urgency aspect of things is no joke. It's real. It's happening.
Real.
Remember, the world comes to study to Canada. In 2019, we had 675,000 international students in Canada. 2020 is kind of all over the place, but still more than 500,000 students in Canada. And with COVID, I think it's only going to increase in 2021 or in 2022. So you need to work ahead of time. You need to also consider a good chunk of time also for the visa process, because Immigration Canada is running behind schedule. And so we want to make sure you have all your documents in time so you can travel. Okay, now what do we know that about 4 months ago, the government of Canada authorized that people can do up to 50% of their studies online, and it would not affect their postgraduate work permit. And that started in September 2020. So we had a lot of students starting online in September 2020, continue online in January 21, or some of them are coming or arriving for the January semester because they've got their visa. Do we know anything else about after April 21? Will this continue, or we don't know yet?
No, they haven't given any updates. And the way the government of Canada seems to work, they wait until very close to the deadline to inform people. It's unfortunate, but yeah, we won't know at this point if, I guess they have to wait and see also to see, how quickly the vaccine is going to be distributed and how quickly we can start to safely get things back into on-campus mode. But like you said earlier, Bruno, I'm hopeful that come September we'll have a lot more studies going back to campus.
Yeah, as well as jobs being back to normal. We had tremendous job growth in Canada between June and November. It's been like this every single month, right? So a lot of the jobs are coming back to the market as we're getting, and between brackets, we're getting used to this, but also we're getting over this as well. And now with the arrival of the vaccine and the rapid testing, I think it's only going to continue in 2021. So very good. Okay, so let's see. We had a lot of other questions about living expenses and all that. I think we kind of covered that in the last segment. We have it's almost an hour already. So did you have anything else on your presentation, Sarah, that you wanted to share with us?
I could talk about accommodation. Should I show that? There's actually been some interesting changes for the better for accommodation. Yeah. So let me just quickly show that.
Residents. Yeah, talk about the residents.
Sure. Okay. So we do have a residence that's right on campus at our Burnaby campus. 7 houses with 4 suites, and each suite contains 12 units. So it's not all that big, but we do have international students living there, even currently, while they're studying at BCIT, either from online or blended. And it's very, very beautiful. There's a field right outside, surrounded by trees, and there's residence advisors who are in charge of making sure that the students are happy and healthy. And so for a long time, it has been a little bit hard for students to get a space because the demand for housing is quite high. So actually on the news, BCIT is announcing plans of expansion. So it's been 38 years since they've expanded, and so there's $115 million going into new housing for the Burnaby campus. So now there's some space, but very soon there's going to be even more space for international students. And why this is really good is because not only are you immersed in BCIT, but also the rent is quite reasonable. So I believe now it's around roughly just maybe over $700 Canadian per rent, which was a lot less than the $1,500 that I shared earlier. So it's really, really good value. And you're right by your classes, you're right by Metro Town, which is like a shopping mall that has groceries. So it really is a great destination, and it's going to be expanding. Okay,
that's good. Yeah, I think much needed student residence, I think. Yeah, a very good project. When would this be ready by?
I believe in the next few years. Let me get to you some more recent information just to double check, but I believe in the next few years.
Okay. Remember Jessica Torres? She asked us a question a little earlier, and now she's asking, so you would recommend a master more than a postgraduate certificate, right? I have a bachelor degree in marketing, graduated 4 years ago. I think Michael had answered that question. I think the answer is yes. Jessica, and I think partly in reason because with the certificate you will only get 1 year postgraduate work permit as opposed to a master you get 3-year postgraduate work permit. Correct, Mike?
Yes. Yeah. But again, we don't have masters in those areas. So, the other option that I had recommended was the diploma, because the diplomas are hands-on. In many ways, they are superior to a bachelor degree, and that's what most students like you, Jessica, that's what they come to BCIT for. They come for the diplomas rather than go for another theoretical master's degree somewhere else.
Yeah, Jessica, let me add something to that too, because I studied BCIT and I studied marketing communications. The great thing about marketing that is also not so great is that what you've learned 4 years ago, or even 1 year ago, it changes so quickly what's currently in practice and what's currently in demand. And so I would suggest that you have this degree in marketing, which is very valuable, and you probably have a really good understanding of the foundation. But if you considered a marketing diploma at BCIT, and in the marketing management diploma, you can focus on tourism, our communications, our entrepreneurship, our sales, you'll have a more focused education that's very hands-on. And you have a co-op as well that's incorporated. You do a ton of projects. And I feel like those type of skills, working in a group, learning the most up-to-date skills, is going to put you in a really good position if you want to work in Canada. So even though I know you already have this degree, I really do suggest the diploma. I did it, and I really felt confident as an employee once I finished, and I got hired right away. So it is a really good program at BCIT.
Yeah, Marco will hire you.
I wasn't working for BCIT right away, but eventually. But yeah, so I don't want to just say that BCIT is not the only place that hires BCIT students. All different types of employers are looking for BCIT students. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Here's an interesting question from the landlady. Landy Land. The Landy Land. Okay. So the exchange rate, today's exchange rate was about 18.5. She's talking about some agencies are charging 16.5. That's a little abusive, I find. I'll tell you what, Landy. The way we work here is that we're a Canadian company, so we have an account in Canada, and so we don't take risk on the peso, and we're not at risk on the peso because we can, the day you pay us, the next day your money is changed in Canadian dollars. So we eliminate the risk, right? So if you pay me today and you're only going to September 21 to BCIT, your money will be in Canadian dollars right away. So there's no exchange risk, and I think that's a big one. And because of that, we're able to give you the real rate and not an inflated rate in case the peso goes up in the future, right? Not a lot of agencies have this capacity because you cannot have Canadian dollar account in Mexico, and the US dollar accounts in Mexico, I think, also somewhat complicated. And there's also variation between the US dollars and the Canadian dollars. So I think having that competitive advantage is to your advantage in this case. So yeah, whatever you pay to us one day in pesos, the next day is in dollars, and it stays in your account, and it's not subject to any kind of devaluation. Okay, interesting point. Okay, here's another question from Patrick Perez. Hola Bruno, mi hija cumple 18 el 20 de noviembre. ¿Puede entrar a estudiar en diploma con 17 años? 2 meses de cumplir 18 para septiembre de 2021. Okay, so he wants to know if his daughter can start even though she's not she turns 18 on the 20th of November. Is she able to get into BCIT?
Yeah, that's not a problem. She could start even at 17 years old.
Yeah. Sí, no es problema, Patrick. Lo que sí tiene que tener es su diploma de la prepa, y con eso es el requisito para entrar, y con el nivel de inglés, obviamente, ¿no? No es tanto la edad. A 17 sí puede entrar, pero sí tiene que haber terminado su preparatoria en México. ¿Ok, Patrick?
I think the only caveat to that is the need for a guardian, right?
Well, in this case, tendremos que tener un guardián y es un servicio que ofrecemos también aquí en Vancouver. Yeah, we have that service here covered within the company, a legal guardian for underage students. Even if it's just for a few months, we offer that, no problem. It's very easy. Okay. So I think we've covered that questions. Was there anything else you wanted to cover in your presentation?
There was one more thing. I do want to talk a little bit about salary. So with BCIT, depending on the program, the salary that a graduate would get from BCIT, it really does differ depending on what they study. And so I really want to make sure that students feel very empowered. And Bruno, you are really wonderful and you can give them the information they need. So for every program, we do a ton of research after a student graduates. We ask them if they found the information helpful, if they found it hard to find a job, what their salary is. And so because we have all this really great information, we make sure that it's very transparent on our website. So for almost every program, when you take a look at the program, there's a section called graduation and jobs. And this is a really important section. If I were a student looking to study, I want to know what job I'm going to get, and I want to know how much money I'm going to make, because studying in Canada is a big investment, and you want to make sure that you're going to make money once you graduate. And the good news is BCIT has really, really great salaries once you graduate. And so these are just some examples of some research that I pulled. And you know, this research was done, these surveys were done in 2017, 2018. So I'm sure there's going to be some more recent surveys coming out soon. So these numbers are probably a little bit lower than how much someone would make nowadays in 2020. But you know, I believe the $72,000 Canadian a year was from civil engineering degree, and that's a starting wage, and that's really good. So you know, I think that it's really important to know that once you do graduate from BCIT, you're going to make so much more than minimum wage, and you should feel really excited about that.
Wow, it is a great salary for first year graduating. Speaking of engineering, is a great question from Esteban. He studied a master in Mexico. Is a mechanical engineer. Can he study another master degree in Canada or study a diploma? And I would add to that question: why would he study another time something that he already studied in Mexico, but now this time at BCIT? Why would he do that, and what would be the benefit?
Well, I would say you would study a different specialization for sure. You know, mechanical engineering is a pretty broad field. We have at our diploma level, we have 3 different diplomas: mechanical design. I can't remember the other 2.
It's a lot to remember.
But there are 3 options in the mechanical engineering diplomas. If you wanted to do another master's, we have a master's in building engineering and building science, which again would probably be different because it is quite a unique program, and it is an applied master's degree. There is research, but there's also application to it. So that's why I think you can certainly study another master's if you're interested in building science and building engineering, or you could come and do one of the diplomas. I do get that question often from students. They say, if I have a more advanced degree and I'm applying for a lower level diploma, will I still get a study permit? And I've spoken to visa officers in the past, and they told me, yes, it is possible. But you have to be able to explain to them the reason why you are taking a diploma when you already have a degree. And I don't think that's difficult, because at BCIT, our programs are hands-on. They're very, very practical. You're studying and learning the skills, not just the theory. And that is not something that most people can say happened in their degrees. So I think it's not so difficult to convince a visa officer that a diploma is appropriate.
Yeah, and also I think the connection of the school with the local private sector is very strong, and then so you get introduced to this sector, and also you get local recognition, local certification. You know, they don't know your school in Mexico. The employees do not know the Tec de Monterrey and all these Anahuac and all these schools. So they don't expect them to know that, but they will know BCIT, and they will.
So true. I've had so many. Oh, sorry, Bruno.
No, go ahead.
I've had so many employers say that, you know, they went to BCIT, so they won't hire a BCIT, because if you survived BCIT, you can handle anything. So again, in Canada, the reputation is that you know how to work really hard.
Yeah. I agree. So that would be the reason. Okay, now, so Esteban has given us his contact information, so I'm sure you'll hear about him afterwards. And Esteban, if you'd like to do a one-on-one meeting with us, and probably with Sarah or Michael on the line, we can talk further about this, or we can go into details about certain programs, but it sounds like it will be a good fit for you. Okay, Jessica is asking, okay, so I'm going to answer Jessica. Jessica, con respecto a tu pregunta, lo que nos estamos recomendando es, aunque hayas hecho una licenciatura en marketing, te estamos recomendando hacer un diploma o un diploma avanzado en marketing o algún aspecto de marketing, porque hay varios aspectos aquí. Otra vez por las mismas razones. Uno, por la certificación local, el reconocimiento local de los estudios, porque la institución aquí es muy, muy, muy reconocida. Estoy seguro que conseguirías trabajo como lo hizo Sara Alguarte. Y además de eso, pues el enlace que hace la escuela con el sector privado en introducir los empleadores con los empleados, con los egresados, hacer un excelente trabajo en eso. Hay muchas oportunidades para conocerse a través de co-ops, a través de trabajo medio tiempo mientras estudias. Creo que la respuesta, como no tiene maestría en marketing, la respuesta más bien es hacer un diplomado. Pero vas a ver que el diploma de aquí es, yo no estaría sorprendido que te des cuenta que el diploma de aquí es equivalente a una maestría de México en el caso de BCIT. Eso es lo que yo te puedo decir con el nivel de enseñanza que están ofreciendo. Okay, quick question. We talked about average salary for engineering. I think it was $72,000. What about marketing? Any information on that?
Yeah, it depends on marketing. I believe I was doing a bit of research, and I think the average starting wage is around 25 to 28 an hour. So still really good. And again, that's just the start. Like once you become a manager or a coordinator, you're going to be making more money. So it's not as high as engineering, but it's still really, really high, and really, really exciting to work in marketing. I love doing what I do.
Let's put this in perspective. They don't understand what 28 is an hour. So 28 is approximately $54,000 per year. So it's a little bit less than engineering, but that's in marketing. About over $50,000 a year. And let me put this in pesos. As of today, that's about 850,000 pesos per year.
And that's just the starting wage, so it definitely gets higher.
Yeah, 70,000 pesos por mes, primer año de entrada. Okay. Hi, Sarah, Michael, thanks for the info. I would like to review more options for diploma, 2 years or business finance, data analytics. These are great programs, very strong at BCIT. What can you tell George, Michael, or Sarah?
Well,
we have. Yeah, go, Michael. Sorry.
Sure. The School of Business is actually our largest school at BCIT. So about half of all the students at BCIT go to the business and media programs. In business, we have business management, business administration, business operations management. There's probably a good dozen programs that you could choose from. The data analytics, unfortunately, is not available for international students at this time, hopefully in the future. But we have a great program in international business management, business operations management. One program that I like to promote is the general insurance and risk management. General insurance and risk management. Pretty much 100% of those students find a job right out of school because they are trained specifically for the insurance industry. And the insurance industry is always looking for people with training specifically in that industry. Otherwise, they have to hire people with a general business background, and then they have to train them. But if you study at BCIT, you have all the training. you are very marketable to those insurance companies. So that's a really popular program.
Okay. Very good. Veo preguntas de Jessica y de Landy que quieren hablar o quisieran que a lo mejor hablemos un poco más a profundidad conmigo. Con muchísimo gusto, contáctense con un asesor de Class Education y podemos agendar una llamada desde mañana o la del próximo lunes o martes, lo antes posible porque corre el tiempo. Con muchísimo gusto seguimos hablando y no puedo hablar con todo el mundo, pero puedo hablar 5, 10, 15 minutos con ustedes para ir viendo cómo atinamos el asunto y luego damos seguimiento a sus necesidades, ¿ok? Entonces, con mucho gusto, los datos de clase están abajo, lo podemos hablar desde mañana. Okay, so it's already 6:20 in Vancouver, 8:20 in Mexico. I don't want to abuse of your time. I know Santa is a very busy season of the year for him. So I'll give you a minute each to kind of say goodbye and maybe add some stuff that we may not have touched upon, and then we'll call it a night.
Ladies first.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Santa. Yeah, BCIT was a really, really great choice that I made when I was not really sure what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to get a job. And so right away when I started studying here, I became super involved with the school. I became a residence advisor living on campus. I went to the gym all the time and made friends. And I know that everything's looking a little bit different now. But what I can say is that the community at BCIT is really amazing. The instructors have done such great jobs to adapt and make sure that, it's still very engaging, the curriculum that's going on right now, still group projects, a lot of programs are blended, the library is still open. It just looks a little bit different right now. So don't think that the education is not going to be the same, even if, things are going to be a little bit different in the future. Just know that students, and I've spoken to lots of students who are currently studying because I work with social media, are still really, really happy with their education, and they feel really strong about what they're learning, and they feel confident that once they graduate, they're going to find a job no problem. So, now really is the time. If you're interested, just start the application, because at least that way you're not going to have any regrets. That's all I have to say.
Good one. I think I'm going to end on a different note because I think we've spoken a lot about BCIT, and I don't really have a lot more to add. I believe it is a great institution. I've worked here for over 12 years, and I know it well. I know the value of the BCIT education, and I think if you decide to come, you will see that as well. But what I would like to end on is to say thanks to Bruno and all of the staff at class, because they are a great partner for BCIT in Mexico and Latin America. And if you need any assistance, I know they're going to look after you very well, and they're one of our great trusted partners. So thank you very much, Bruno, and all your staff. Jess in the background. And we look forward to speaking to any of your students. If you want to set up meetings with them and us, we're always available for you.
Great. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for the comment, Michael. This is what we do. This is what we do day in, day out. I won't say 7 days a week because my team will kill me, but it is 7 days a week. And a little bit to take upon what Sarah mentioned, in a changing world, I think if I had to pick a country, I'd pick Canada, with my eyes closed. And if I had to pick an institution, I'd pick an institution that's leader, avant-garde, always evolutioning, always ahead of the ball, always preparing people for what's here, what's coming. And I think BCIT is that kind of institution. I honestly say it. I don't say it about all the institution. I do say it about BCIT because I believe in the product. So if you're interested, you have our contact information. A lot of you already give us your information. We'll talk with a few of you tomorrow. I think already had some meetings for tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll contact Sarah and or Michael to talk about your needs. And trust us, Canada is a safe bet, and BCIT is a sure bet. So I don't think you can go wrong with that. And I would add class in that team as well, so we complete the team and we can assist you. It's tricky, filling those forms, following up the application process, the visa process. all this is very, very important. You need to get it right. Do it with people that do this every day. That's all we do. So do it right, and you'll have the right type of success, the right preparation, and then you'll have the right job, and you'll have the right salary, and you'll have the life that you want to have, and the life that you probably deserve as well. So let us help you. We're here for that. I was very happy to have you guys on the call today. Thank you very much. I know it's late, so we'll call it now. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, class, all the staff that's behind, answering the questions and putting this webinar together. This is our last webinar of the year with an institution. Next Tuesday, we will do a webinar with testimonials, with students that are in Canada, maybe they have returned to Mexico in some cases. We'll talk with families also that I've seen their child transform into this global person now, and some of them in some cases are now permanent resident or even citizens of Canada. So we'll talk about families that have lived the experience. We'll ask them all kinds of questions. I will invite you to ask all your questions to families and students that are still here. Some of them have gone back to Mexico. And so it's next Tuesday, same time, 7 o'clock Mexico time. If you're interested, please join us. And again, thank you very much, BCIT. Michael, Sarah looks like she's off the call. And
she got disconnected. She apologizes.
All right, that's fine. And happy holidays to all of you. And we'll see you next Tuesday. And that's it. There he is. She's back.
Surprise. I got too excited. Yeah, and pressed the wrong button. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Bruno. You're awesome. Thank you, Michael. You're a great boss. Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bruno.
Thank you, everybody.
Nos vemos nos vemos el próximo martes. Bye. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.